It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, in the very, very quiet city of Toronto today. And with me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght and Moose Jaw. Shawn, how are you?
And it's probably just as quiet in this part of the country too, Gary.
Yeah. For those of you who don't realize, in Toronto, we lost to Game 7 in the World Series yesterday in 11 innings. And the city is still a little bit stunned. It's a little bit like a funeral parlor around here. But, lacrosse is only a couple of weeks away, so we can get ourselves back on track. Thank goodness for that. And down south there, I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how are you?
I'm mourning with you.
We are a team. It's been a strange day. If I seem a little bit lost, it's last night took it out of all of us out in here, and I feel very lucky to have witnessed this team all summer and all fall, and watching the miraculous things that a bunch of no names, with the exception of Bichette and Guerrero, could do, and put it together. And then add some pieces like a Bieber and a Scherzer for veteran leadership of the pitching staff and a few other things, and some magic happened.
Well, he had a Springer too, even though he's been injured most of the year.
But yeah. I'm waiting. I can't wait to see the official reports of what these guys are going through, because I'm pretty sure
they were banged up.
I'm pretty sure that the Springer list will be about this long.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that you'll find
Bichette's
out that
probably close to.
It's an MCL with Bichette, because he's only really working on one leg.
Yeah.
So I'm fairly sure that it's a lot more severe than what we're talking about, let alone Kirk, Jimenez, and all the hand injuries from all the hit by pitches that were going on, and all the bangs and nicks and everything else. But, it's World Series. You play. If you have a pulse, you play. Yeah. And, kudos to the Dodgers. They found a way to win. There were some absolutely unbelievable things that went on in the last two games, things that I don't think that even if you were Houdini or, David Copperfield, you could, recreate these things. It just unbelievable. It was the best World Series that I have ever watched.
Oh, yeah.
In the 58 years I've been on this planet. So, kudos to both teams for giving us, just, as I always say, the people who won were the fans, because you got the greatest baseball that you've ever seen. Oh. And it was just full of excitement. There was never a time when you could turn off, go, yeah, this one's over, I'm going to bed. And if you watched the 18-inning game, you didn't go to bed.
No, you did not.
I went right to work myself. So, but anyways, we're talking free agencies. We're talking training camps have opened. We're talking preseason games are just around the corner. Just next week is when they all start up. But before we get floating on all that, just a reminder to everybody that all of our episodes are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, also Instagram Live. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network, like Fly Like an Eagle, like cinema shows, like Streampunk Combat and Boxing, CFL shows, since they're in the playoffs now. There are other soccer and football shows as well. And if you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the shows on YouTube at Streampunk Sports, Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat, or, of course, all across all the time for any and all of our stuff. And at that page, first off, please share. Please tell everybody about it. And you can catch our library of shows, interviews, press conferences, fights, retro games, a whole mess of them, and more coming all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkent.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also a reminder that the show is brought to you by 60. 60 is more than just a number. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflects the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to style and innovation sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Also add Lax Talk 10 for a 10% discount on your orders. Now, how do you get to them, you say? You can go to the QR code, which is in the center of your screen. You also can get to them on Instagram at sweet_60. Email them at info.sweet60@gmail.com, or go right to their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. And remember, Lax Talk 10 for a 10% discount on your order. And lo and behold, I'm wearing one of theirs as we speak. Very comfortable. Great quality, too. Good stretch. Anyways, guys, free agency. We've had another fantastic week of all kinds of signings, all kinds of things. Eduardo's with us. Eduardo, how are you? Good to have you with us.
Hey,
Eduardo.
In St. Augustine. Oh, look out. Frick is here. Ryan McMichael is with us. He is my window to the world of lacrosse. He'll know it before anybody knows it. So always take a look at him on Twitter, and he will keep you up to date. Anyways, guys, we had another flurry of signings. The rich get richer, as it seems. Vegas added a few more bodies. Here was an interesting one that I found out the other day, just by accident, by talking with him, was Alex Bouquet is in the training camp of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. So that brings us to 3 goalies over there. Of course, or 4 goalies, sorry, because you have Kells, you have Kahn. Who am I missing?
Getty.
That's right. And now you have Bouquet. So there's going to be lots of little things there. Thank you, Eduardo. I appreciate that. It's still an open wound here, so if you want to see the funeral procession, you can just walk on any street downtown Toronto, and there's people still wandering around going, "Is my subway here yet?" That was another big one. The TTC stopped running at their regular time, and the game was later. Way to go! Nothing like putting salt in the wound quickly, eh? I love that. I am always paying attention to Frick's Twitter, and that is what he's talking about. But we had a number of different things going on this week. Training camps, if they didn't open last week for teams, they opened this week. The Oshawa Firewolves had their first scrimmage and practice over at the Brampton Memorial Arena yesterday, and everybody's up in good spirits. Most of these guys only had to drive about 20 minutes to get to it. The other big thing with that, with so many people from in and around the area, is that their midweek practice is going to be like a Toronto Rock practice where almost everybody is in there. So it's going to be a big thing. Now, I took the liberty of a few teams have put their full rosters up. Why don't we take a look and see exactly what we have to deal with? I'm actually going to start with Toronto, and a few things on there. Physically unable to perform at TD Erlin, even though he just re-signed this week for a couple of years. The thing that stands out to me is right-handed forwards. There aren't many of them. In fact, one of them is a guy who goes out both doors in Challen Rogers. But there are so many defensemen in camp that I've got a feeling that his days on defense are, shall we say, done. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting that they have both Sam English and Hugh Kelleher listed under defensemen. I would think those guys would be coming out the front door, given they're both first-round draft picks, and English is a number 2 overall pick.
I have a feeling that things will sort themselves out as they move along. The other thing that is noticeable here is, of course, Tom Schreiber, unsigned but injured. So I have a feeling pretty soon we're going to put down retired beside that one. But that's just me. Looking at the left-handed forwards, though, now that Nathan Grennan's re-signed, Dan Craig's re-signed. Mark Matthews is coming back from shoulder surgery. I don't see much of an opportunity for Isaiah Moran Weeks in this group. I just, call me crazy. But between Owen Hiltz, CJ Kirst, Ehrman, I can't see him making his squad, even though he's a good player. Shawn, what you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're right on that one. I mean, you have Matthews and Grennan. And Craig, has a few years there. It's still quite a young left-hand side as well. But even then, like you said, the level of talent, maybe you might have a practice spot for him, but I don't see him in the kind of the final lineup.
Right.
And kind of back to kind of your guys' point to the right-hand side too. Like maybe that's why you're seeing so little kind of right-hand forwards, is because like Kelhert and English. Maybe that, like Gary said, maybe that just kind of works itself out in the wash, or maybe they are moving out.
There's also one that's not on the list is Ty English, and he's going back to school, so he's not going to be part of this year's squad. Another first round pick, right? So like his brother, he will be coming a year after his first round picking.
So do you think they find a way to keep Moran Weeks on the roster somehow? Put him, shuffle him around on one of those lists, draft list, or protected player, something like that, perhaps.
I could see I could see things getting very interesting and creative as we move along in this thing, because you don't want to let them go, right? I would love it if we actually got the idea that we had a long time ago of making the ALL like the AHL, and then you could actually keep track and keep your draft picks down the road as long as you have them under contract, right? As opposed to all this cutting free, and off they go into Never Land. So we'll see. But I don't see where do I see people getting cut is on the left-hand defenses. Messier, Hukel, probably Robert Hudson at this stage, because I don't see anywhere else other than Isaiah Moran Weeks that's going to be anywhere else. And Erlin, if this team is going to succeed, he's going to need to be on the roster, because we saw what happened last year when they didn't have a face-off guy.
Well, yeah.
And the difference that when they had him back. So we'll see. They start preseason next week, I believe. What's that? Saskatchewan's one of them. Philadelphia is one of them, in Colorado. So I'm just not sure which order is which. I think it's like last year, Colorado first, Saskatchewan, and then Philadelphia. Moving right along, we can go to the Saskatchewan lineup, and as you can see, it's a very very familiar lineup. Yeah. There's not much change in here at all.
It's very status quo, isn't it?
One or two, and even then, I'm wondering, are they just there to push veterans? Because where would you find a space for them?
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. Belair, Carlson, Needham on forwards. Those guys are, they're cap wise, unfortunately. It's interesting, Accioni, you saw us kind of limited time last year in defense. It'll be interesting to see kind of if he plays a little bit of a bigger role there. But then you have Virch, a draft pick. Again, what do you do with him? And a fairly high draft pick too. It could be interesting to see where he kind of plays out in all this. Then Houlihan, and again, a goaltender. Do you maybe throw him on the practice roster? Because we've seen what happened in the past. You don't have a goaltender on the practice roster and someone gets hurt, and all of a sudden now you're scrambling to find that third goaltender. So I could see him kind of sticking around on that practice roster, but again, not much change, right? I think you're just going to see bigger roles out of guys like Levi Anderson and Josh Zawada, guys who maybe saw some little more limited time, because now that you have Mike Triolo out of the mix, you kind of have that spot to fill.
Right. Mike?
Yep. Where's Patrick Dodds?
That's true too. We were talking about that when Triolo went, and maybe that was the spot for Dodds, and he's still not here.
And Andrew's off that list too, because I believe he had a concussion last year, and there's kind of question marks whether he's going to be back in time. So that's another interesting thing for the defense.
Here's a curious thing too. Do they take up a practice roster spot with Houlihan, or do they just go with the two and work that way? Kind of like last year, even though they had 4.
And then they ran that issue where they tried to sign Lane Rushka, right? And they ran that issue a couple of years ago, I think, when Evan Kirk got injured, and they didn't have a third goaltender in the practice roster. So it's happened to him twice now. So fool me once, fool me twice, right? Like,
and it happened. Well, didn't it happen last year? Keegan Bell suited up as an emergency.
Well, yeah, because they didn't sign Lane Rushka in time. Yeah. So and like I said, it happened a few years back too when Evan Kirk got injured, and they had to bring in I can't think of his name right now, but it has happened before in the past as well. So I think he's learned his lesson, not keeping a third goaltender even on the practice roster, just in case.
Absolutely. Funny enough, though, eh? But again, they don't really have to tinker with the lineup because they're pretty close to everything. But this is a lineup that even Levi Anderson had a tough time making it. He was in and out of the lineup all the time because he just was the odd man out. Now, does he have a spot this time around, or is he going to be playing up and down the ladder to press box to bench, to press box to bench?
And that's where I bring with the Triolo being out of the picture. I think that kind of opens up the spot for maybe where he can get maybe a little bit more playing time, depending on which side of the offense you want to go strong on. But that's the thing. Like the team
odds again is the odd man out, right?
Yeah, and again, I mean, you're talking about the lineup just in general. I mean, this is a team that went to the finals on a fairly young lineup. So I mean, really, what they just need is continuity now and just working together and getting more experience, which is what they've done.
Right. All right, moving right along. We have the Oshawa Firewolves, and interesting here. You have 4 goalies at camp, and the two that are coming are Doug Jamieson and a kid. But you take a look at the defense that is there, and wow, that's a lot of names. That's a lot of names that are NLL caliber as well.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I'll point it out again, I mean, other than Kyle Rubish, I'm pretty sure every single name on that list is not yet a UFA. Maybe Colton Watkinson and Nick Tchaikovsky will be after this year, but I'm pretty sure every single other person on that list is not UFA age or service. So it's nice to see Joel Coyle back as well.
Yes. How do we see Clark fitting in with this offense? Which, by the way, we don't see Marshall Palace there either.
I think he's going to fit in. I think he's going to fit in where basically he's going to take John Piatelli's place. Piatelli was, I think, moved to I don't want to say protected player list, but I don't know. Was he given his release to seek?
I don't remember seeing that.
Free agency. I remember he got moved. I think he got moved to an RFA list, maybe is what it was.
Right.
But it sounded like maybe he was looking to test free agent market. So, and as you can see, he's not listed here. So,
right.
I think you have
too, right? So,
yeah, I think just looking at this list, you got to figure righties are going to be Simmons, Kurtz, Peshko, and Clark.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have Williams, Walker, Jackson, and then one of the other 3 guys on, lefty.
Right. That makes more sense, yeah.
They're going to be a strong team. There's no two ways about that. And they're going to have a really great transition game. And with Joe Nardella healthy, the face-off game is going to be as strong as anybody's. So this is it's going to be an interesting mix. And like I say, their first get together was yesterday up in the Brampton Memorial Arena, and I imagine they're going to have some preseason games up there, as they're apt to do. So stick around for that one, and keep watching our page, because as we know where preseason games are, we will let you know. And I have a feeling there will be a few spots. ILA will be another one where Halifax will be getting games in there. I'm assuming George has been practicing up there as well. So there'll be a few of them up there. I'm thinking Buffalo's probably in there now also. But hey, let's keep rolling. Ottawa. Interesting one. As you see the goaltender thing with Tyler Carlson and Lane Ruska joining Will Johnson and Zach Higgins. Busy down there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's gonna be the competition to watch. I think one of them at least for sure.
Well, you look at the depth of defensemen there, and you start looking at it going, holy smokes! And look at the names. Who would you be comfortable with saying, yeah, no thanks? That's a lot of defense. We're bringing 20 people in just as defensemen.
Yeah.
To go with the 12 people are bringing as forwards and 4 goalies. So that's a lot of people in camp, man.
And even those forwards, like, who you getting rid out of those? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you got
like this is probably
4
going
of
to be
those
one of the
guys.
more competitive. Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the more competitive camps, right? Like, there's so much.
Well, you
talent
look
there.
also, as we heard on the show, is Eddie Renault is going to that camp as well, another forward. And he's not even on the list. So, that brings us to 33, 37 goalies, right? That's a lot of people, man. We still don't think that the NLL needs to expand. That's 50% of that team doesn't make it. 50% of that list doesn't make it. That's sad. Sure, some are going to get picked up somewhere else, but the majority of them aren't. And once again, ALL starts the first week of December as well. Don't forget to get your tickets and get over to the arenas, because you're going to see a lot of NLL caliber games. I just had, of course, his name eludes me now, on my show on Thursday, and of course Jamie Dubrick, and he was he's with the Oakville Rock, and he's also with the Paris River Wolves of the ALL, and we're talking just the absolute necessity of the Arena Lacrosse League in developmental, as well as to keep people, teach them how to be pros and stay pros. And it's a big commitment on their part, and they've done it very well, because there's about 35 players that have come up and stayed up, goalies included. To name a couple would be Zach Higgins, Steve Orleman, amongst a number of others, Craig Wendy, who have done real well honing their craft in the ALL and moving it up. But we'll add more to that list too, since we know that Parker Pfeiffer of Toronto Monarchs fame is going out from the Colorado roster. And we'll get to that one in a minute. But this is the interesting one in my eyes, because it's a mishmash here of anybody and everybody has a possibility of making that lineup. I look at the goaltending even, and I lean towards Cam McLeod and Aiden Walsh. But who's to say if Kobe Bowman doesn't have a really good camp that he doesn't?
We've seen what he can do in WLA. I mean,
my point exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did get some time last year playing in the NLL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at that point, maybe Calgary wasn't a factor, for playoffs. But I'm after looking at this roster, I'm not as pessimistic even though there's a lot of new names, there were kind of a lot of names that I had forgotten about. I mean, there's been all this focus on, no, Dixon left, King left, Simpson
Dobie
left.
retired.
Simpson left earlier, but
Mhm.
then didn't come
Yeah.
back.
Dobie retired.
Dobie retired, yeah.
Reese Callies was also also went to Vancouver, but I had forgotten that they acquired Braden Lady, mid-season last year. So that's a guy who's going to be a cornerstone. Let's not forget, I'm not going to call him a cornerstone yet, but they went out of their way to get Griffin Hall from Las Vegas
Mhm.
with that. I think it was that
Yeah.
Shane Simpson deal. Again, Eli Salama is top 15, arguably top 10 defender in the league.
I love Tyler Hendricks. Tyler Hendricks, you can use him out the front door as well, and he will camp in front of the net.
Yep.
Huge body.
Another big body. Matt Sykes is a big body. And then let's not slight their transition game still between guys like Salama and Lady, Matsuoka, Bennett Smith.
The only thing I have with this roster, I guess, is we're talking defense and transition, and I'm with you. I'm not as pessimistic, but I look at the forwards, and while there's some names there, is there anyone there that really puts a absolute fear in the defense and an opposing defense?
No,
I think you got a good point. That might be kind of the missing piece. Is that number one guy. I think that number one guy on for your righties is going to be Tyler Pace now. I think
they're probably looking at Tanner Cook too, maybe, but
yeah, on the other side, yeah. As far as their lefty core, I think it's going to be Cook. Gauthier is already. I think
Gautier's got to step it up.
I think this is the year where it's either make it or break it for him.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of cracks at it and has had excuses that it's tough to make the lineups of these teams. This one's wide open for him to not just make it, but actually be an integral piece in the puzzle here in this rebuild, so to speak. Carson Moyer also, this is a big time for him to really show what he's all about and to really put an emphatic exclamation point beside his name that he needs to be in the lineup every day.
I could even say the same thing with Hayden Dixon. I mean, again, going back to the summer, we've seen what he's done in WLA. He's had some good seasons as well in Calgary the past few seasons. Now can we see him take his game to the next level? Because I think they need to see that game to the next level now at this point.
Right. I would also, in that respect, Braden Maya, who had a great summer also in Major Series. So, but there's a big jump between Major Series and NLL. So we'll see. But it's going to be interesting. This one, again, the steady pieces that they have on defense, of course, is Liam LeClaire. Bennett Smith is another one. It's going to be a big part of this, I think. But Kyle Pepper and Jack Follows, I think, are both names that we should be putting a little asterisk beside to see if they can, to make this lineup. Yeah. And if they can, I think they can make some noise being there. But moving further along, Colorado, just before we get to that, though, they had made a trade, and that, of course, was San Diego. San Diego got Connor Robinson. That was a big trade, man. That fills a void and a half because they just signed Corey Small also as a UFA from Toronto. Colorado receives either the first-round compensatory pick or a second-round pick in the 2026 entry draft and a conditional third-round pick from the 2028 entry draft. The way I've read it in other places talking about this trade is the compensatory first-round pick in 2026. So that could be a huge deal.
Be high. That pick should be high. That pick should probably be like 15, 16, 17.
Right. But looking at what they're bringing into camp, noticeably we got Ryan Lee back in the mix there, which is big. They signed Aaron Woods. Braden Saris is in this mix. Andrew Q, of course, made news heading over there. Brian Cameron last year was picked up by them. Jameson Bucktooth, as an outside shot to make the club, could make a lot of noise if he's given the opportunity. But I'm pulling for Nate Woods on defense, friend of mine, and good transition player, and played great with the Gales.
Yeah, I was actually this roster is what I'm finding with Calgary. Is at first I thought, oh, maybe they're in some trouble, but now actually looking at what they've got coming in, I think they're going to be okay, as you said, on offense. Even though, I mean, Gary, you saw what Brian Cameron can do.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could have a good shot and a good opportunity there. Again, like you said, Q, Lee, Malcolm. You even have Owen Ray and Saris, like you mentioned, Vela, Woods. There's a lot of talent there.
Yeah, and I believe they made the move to have Owen Ron play out the front door exclusively this season. So
yeah,
right.
I go. The only maybe question mark is if Dylan Ward comes down with an injury, you don't have very much behind him.
Yeah. Well, Caleb Martin, I like. He's been big in the in summer ball with Owen Sounds and also ALL, and so he's got a pretty good background. But to step into the fire, I don't know. And we saw Nathan Whittam, didn't we, last year for a game or two?
a little bit near the end.
Yeah.
I'd also point out maybe I noticed Dylan Hess of the Water Dogs, who had a pretty good summer. Maybe he's the kind of guy who can kind of reignite the Mammoths transition game.
Right.
Because it's been tough since Joey Capito left. And even more so now with Damon Edwards retiring.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep going with this. And we were here already. Have we gone through the 6 that I've got?
Yeah, I think we've gone through them.
Yeah, it looks like we got them all.
Yeah,
we got them.
Ones that we have anyway.
Well, more to come. But what I'm also looking at is, you look Rochester, and they made a number of signings also this week. And they got Brad McCulley in there, amongst other things. They are stacked.
Yeah.
They also signed Jackson Brown as a third goalie. And I think that's a big move because, again, you don't know with Rylan Hartley. He looked great in the last year. And, every day he's not injured is one day he's getting healthier. But it only takes one. And he's susceptible to it. So, Riley Hutchcraft is your backup. But to have another NLL goalie in Jackson Brown signed for, I think he signed for 3 years. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
But I still think that Vegas is on the cusp of something great. And we're talking about this off air, the goaltending situation. Still, in my eyes, they don't have that that guy that's going to steal you the game. That's what Matt Vince was so great at for so many years in all the places he played, is that ability to, when the team isn't playing great, to be able to steal a game. I don't think that Kells is that guy. I don't think that Khan is that guy. I don't, Bouquet, right?
Yeah,
I don't see it. Gala Abrams, by the way, is a UFA. Yeah. So he's out there still.
Maybe that's the way it looks. But I agree with you, Gary. we've seen flashes from both Getty and Kells, but just that flashes. And like you said, we know what we get out of Bouquet. Like he could probably steal a game for 9 or 10 games, but then it's a steep drop off after that. And it's just maybe things have changed, but that's just his track record at the moment.
Mm-hmm. He had a good summer. Senior B looked good in the President's Cup through most of that tournament, but this isn't the President's Cup.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, prove me wrong. That's just I'm going off a track record, right? But he can always prove me wrong.
Mike,
yeah, man, especially if it's his last chance. You know,
Yeah.
We've kind of seen some in the last few years. We've kind of seen some goalies kind of almost, come in, or they were going to retire and then they've come back. Like Tyler Carlson, like Steve Fryer. Given one more chance, and some have made the most of it and some have not. So, could this be a similar situation for Alex Bouquet, where, hey, this is, this might be your last chance,
right,
to stay in the big show.
It's interesting though, because there's so many good moves, and that has been really a neglected thing in my eyes. But
would the signing of a goal Abrams make a difference in this?
Yes and no. We've all seen him play to the caliber of being able to be an upper echelon goalie. We just haven't seen it for that long, right? It's the sustainability of how many games can you get out of him. I'm not convinced he's a starting goalie. I think off the bench, he's one of the better ones you're going to find in the league, and he'd be a super backup somewhere. But I just don't see him being that guy if you're that serious in trying to. And by looking at all the moves that Vegas has made, they have become that serious that this is the year that they are going to make some noise.
Well, it needs to be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, otherwise, we'll be talking about them.
You're on year 4, and you're averaging 4 1/3 wins.
Right.
For a year.
Now, here's some news. Is Las Vegas released Holden Gattoni from the active roster? So he's now out there for some ticket, but so is Tate. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why nobody is touching Tate. He had a monster summer with Peterborough this year. He played arena lacrosse last year, and there's so many people saying that he was just too good for that league. That some NLL club needs to pick him up, and I agree. But where?
Maybe could Calgary maybe look at them where they need offense.
No,
Philly too, yeah.
Well, they both were there. They were both, Holden and Tate were in Philly at one point.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Paul Day obviously knows them. Of course, all being part of the Peterborough organization.
Yeah.
But I have a real tough time understanding why nobody wants to sign Tate Gattoni. You're not going to find a harder worker. He has no fear. He'll dig in the dirty areas. He'll be in front of the net. He has a good shot. I don't understand. And he's got a track record. He's been successful in the NLL. So I don't know why guys are just saying, no thanks. Pass. Especially teams that are suffering in offense.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe Calgary, like you said, Philly's been there, done that. Maybe it is Calgary because they need that name that's going to be like, okay, that's the name that's going to put some. That's the number one guy. That's a guy who's going to put some fear in some defenses.
That worked out well for them too because they have their family is originally from Calgary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and suddenly the lefty core would look a whole lot stronger if you had Cook, Maillet, Lowen, and both Gattoni brothers.
Now you're talking.
Absolutely.
I think that makes up for the loss of Dane Dobie.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit.
I just can't understand why at this stage of the year now that nobody's done anything with him. Like, granted, Holden just got released, but Tate, he's been a free agent for 2 years now. Since Buffalo didn't take him last training camp. Just it boggles my mind sometimes, and then midway through the year, teams are like, well, I don't have anything. Right? Now, what do y'all think about Buffalo? They re-signed Kyle Matisse, Nick Weiss, Clay Stanley. They put Mike Triolo on a 1-year contract, but they also signed away from San Diego Ryan Benesh. So he's back to basically where he started from. That's a lot of firepower to make up for losing Kluche and losing Fraser.
As far as I'm concerned with Buffalo, I mean, they're top of the heap, and until people can prove me otherwise, I mean,
somebody beats them.
Yeah.
And with Matt Vince re-signing for 1 more year, there was a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to try and do a 4-peat. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And with that kind of firepower, Buffalo really didn't lose anything. They lost a highlight reel. And, of course, when Fraser was on, he scored some of the most beautiful goals around. But it was also, he's been hurt a lot too, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with Kluche.
Kluche, you really got Triolo to replace him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, that and a little bit more because of size.
Yeah.
But so I don't see Buffalo going down in the rankings any in this offseason, and they were able to retain everybody else. Everybody else. So for a thing where we thought maybe it would be a mass exodus, no, they all have 4-peat on their plates and looking to how and where. Getting back to Rochester for a second, they signed their picks of Adam Thistlewaite, Clifford Gaston, Mitch Dunham, Seth Martineau, and Amos Whitcomb. Now, we've heard many, many times about how good a player Amos Whitcomb is. And they've signed them all to 3-year contracts. So the other guys, do they even have a shot at making that stacked lineup in Rochester?
That's
Mike,
kind of my exact thought. Oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
no, Jeff.
I was just going to say, that's just my exact thought was, I mean, how do you even find a spot for him? Again, it goes back to our we need a farm system, right? Because these young kids who you've drafted, where do you find a spot for them? Yeah.
they're like
go ahead.
Toronto. You have all these players, but where are you going to put them?
I was going to say Saskatchewan's in the same spot, I feel like, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a team like we're talking about, like Calgary or Philly here, that needs to inject some life into your offense, I mean, it's nice to maybe sit around and wait for guys to get cut from Rochester that you think you can use, but at the same time, by the time you're signing them, your season's about to start and there's no chemistry there.
Right. Now, with Philadelphia, they did get Resetarits back, so they didn't lose all their offense. But I haven't seen them do enough there that really makes me go, well, they're serious. Am I missing something? Mike?
No, I unfortunately, I don't think you are. I mean, okay, you're getting a full season of, Resetarits, Caputo, and Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, it's season 2. I mean, they were all there last year, so. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't see how they right now. I don't see how they replace the output of Mitch Jones at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Russ Terrence. He's going to get his points. I mean, what 3 of his last 5 seasons have been 100-point seasons. Um, so uh, I guess I'm more concerned, even though maybe we shouldn't be, about the defense, because we've been talking about it for so long. The need to do something.
Yeah.
Right.
I still think that something is they need to have an identity. I think
That's
that
exactly
defense
what it.
does
That's
not
exactly
have
it.
an identity. You're coming into year 2 now with a Hall of Famer and Pat McCready. They need to find an identity. And honestly, I'm not even a Philly fan, but I don't care. Even if I was a Philly fan, I don't care what you pick. Pick something. You want to be physical all the time, like a Buffalo, like a Toronto. If you want to be, a finesse type defense like a Calgary,
Mhm.
and pushing
Yeah.
more in transition, fine. Do it all the time. Let's not go week to week where, okay, hey, we're really going to focus on transition this week. And then next week, we're going to try to be, big bruising, stay at home. Pick something and go with it. Find an identity. They haven't had it, I think, for a couple of years now. And I understand there's been a lot of rotating personnel. They tried to do the physical thing, bringing in Chad Tutton, Brock Sorensen, guys like that. That didn't work out.
Mhm.
They tried to, with the Panther City expansion draft, they tried to do, more of the transition and maybe turn into a Panther City. They had Tony Malcolm, you know, uh, they went out and got Scott Dominy.
Who, by the way, will be healthy this year.
Yeah.
He will, and I mean, if I had gun to my head, I think that's the way to go. They need to push transition. They need to use Dominy, McCannell, Ryan Wagner, still one of the fastest guys in the league despite major injuries. Isaiah Davis Allen, and obviously they've lost Tony Malcolm. That there's a speedster that would have been nice to have, but and maybe drafting Bo Columbus can help with that because he's going to win some faceoffs. Maybe he can take a few take a
Mhm.
few wins to the house and try to get some goals to change momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike, can I
Absolutely.
just take that point and just a step further though about the identity? Because I think it's the whole team needs to find an identity. Because you mentioned the defense, but let's look at the offense as well. They just signed Resta Terrace. They've done nothing else. Mitch Jones is out now. They brought Mitch Jones in. They brought the Catonis in. They've done this. They've done that in the offense. So nothing's. Again, it's just like the defense. They're going back and forth. They don't know what they want to do with it.
Right. And their big signing so far,
I
other
mean,
than that, has been Phil Caputo, right?
do
That's it.
do 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 you
Yeah.
do you think maybe they're hoping that it's just that they're well, I hate to label them as field guys, but you have Brennan O'Neill, you have Dalton Young, you have Michael Sowers. Well, we think they have Michael Sowers. I assume he's signed, or they will sign him and try to give it a go with a full season of him. But are they maybe doing the high risk, high reward thing with, hey, we're just going to hope that our field guys are going to transition to box quickly and, and pick it up, and see vast improvement from last season. And
Mhm.
that's where they think maybe the spark is going to come
Yeah.
from.
Yes, because when I see these off-season moves, it's just I scratch my head and say, like, what direction are they going in here? Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
And it should make more sense considering, Paul Day stepped down from head coaching and is just focusing on GM duties.
Right. Now let's go west a little bit. Let's head over to San Diego, and they've lost a few pieces, gained a few pieces, gained a couple of big pieces with Corey Small and Connor Robinson, but underneath all that stuff, they had Trent DeChico signed, Camachione signed. Ari Steinhaus is going to be a big player on defense for them once he gets acclimated into it all. They also signed draft pick Aiden Carroll and Tyden Redlick to 3-year agreements. So they're keeping busy also, and we've talked about it before. Even though Poulin's gone now, Wrigley area, he doesn't really need someone around there to help him. He's set himself pretty good in the goaltending biz, so to speak.
An interesting note on that, though, Gary, and it may just be nothing, so maybe nothing to read into, but Dawson Nielsen reported that no rig in camp right now.
He I don't know. He's far off, but he's not far off. Something's got to give there this season.
Well, they're making it very easy for Comcast to go. They've already brushed it off, and for nobody to want to pick it up, right?
Yeah, that's my concern,
and that's sad because remember, this is Wings 3.0, right? This is the third reincarnation, and we're watching Wings 2.0 being bounced all over the northern hemisphere. Right, it's had a kick in a can at everybody but Sean's doorstep.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe the last stop would be out of Oshawa to become Edmonton. Well, that's provided the Oilers want something to do with it.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Yeah,
we've been there already. We've been around the bend. Toronto signed Brad Creed. That's a huge signing. Because, of course, him and Desnew were legendary back there. Now, interestingly enough, Philadelphia tried to slap the franchise tag on Desnew, and not only did he not want that, but he hasn't signed with them yet. He hasn't signed anywhere else, but he hasn't signed with them yet.
Yeah, well, they retained his rights, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, it sounds like he's challenging whether he can reject the franchise tag or not. So it sounds like that's a whole thing. Either one way or the other, it sounds like Stu's not playing because even if they retain his rights and he can't reject the franchise tag, it sounds like he's not playing. He has no interest in playing there. So,
which is interesting, right? Because he was that savior, so to speak, for a bit in Philadelphia. Transitionally, he basically filled the Scott Dominey role when he went over there.
Yeah.
But if there is a knock on Desnew, is that he is one-dimensional, because it's the same thing every time. Is he's going to grab the loose ball and he is going to try and take it up himself, and he is going to try and score, and everybody knows it. Now, while it may yield a couple of goals, it yields a lot of turnovers and bad choice selection shots in the process.
And an opportunity of reverse transition.
Well, an opportunity of reverse breakaway because you're caught. And I'm not sure that's something Philadelphia needs.
Okay, so even if they don't need him, this is a recent former defensive player of the year. If you want to shop him around, you're going to get something good. So where do you shop him to fill the needs that you have?
Well, say, everybody was saying he's going to come back to Toronto. Well, you saw the list of defensemen in Toronto.
Yeah.
There's no place for him there.
Yeah.
Rochester, there's no place for him there. Halifax, hardly a place for him there.
No.
Georgia. I really don't see a place from there. All right, let's move further out then. Saskatchewan?
No.
No.
No place for me.
Calgary? No. Also, will he be willing to relocate west? Vancouver?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Probably not. So you're
No.
probably looking at
San Diego? Not a chance. Colorado? I look pretty heavy down there too.
Yeah, I think they're good there. Like defense-wise, most teams are set, I think.
So that brings in a conundrum of
I mean, how about Ottawa?
transition.
Because they have a lot of people in camp in
They do.
Ottawa.
They do. We just took a look at the thing there, and there's a heck of a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Same thing with Albany or Oshawa. Sorry, I'll get be mid-season by the time I get that one through. I'll be traveling to the games and still be calling it Albany as I drive to Oshawa. Hamilton. What's funny is when I drive by the Hamilton game to go to the Buffalo game. Or the other times when I drive by the Hamilton and the Buffalo game to go to the Rochester game. Yep. I need to carry a calendar with me. I don't know which one I'm going to. But that also, we've talked about that. That brings it's great for someone like me to get to all these games because they're within, reach, driving wise. But if they're that close, then fan bases are mixed too.
Yeah, or saturating markets again, right?
That's like opening a McDonald's on one side of the street, and then 2 blocks down the road, you open up a McDonald's on the other side of the street. You're eating into each other's profits because there's only so many mouths in the area that are going to go for the hamburger. Well, if you put teams that are that close to each other, they are going to eat into each other's fan bases. Now, best case scenario is one plays on Fridays, one plays on Saturdays, and everybody can go to everywhere. But that's not how it works, and you know it. So,
And let's face it, money's tight these days. Can you afford to buy tickets to 3 different games in a weekend?
right. Let alone season tickets,
Yeah.
which is the bread and butter of all these teams right now. And I hope that it doesn't get to a number of years ago in Toronto. This one really still bewildered me a little bit. Was that they were trying to get new walk-up crowd, so they're making all these deals for cheap seats, but they didn't give the season ticket holders any of these benefits, who are your bread and butter, and they'd be in the same section. That's not a good way to keep your fan base happy.
No.
Hence, at one point the attendance going right now. It's slowly starting to climb its way up. I'm curious. I am very, very curious. November 28th, one to watch how many people are in Oshawa, but 2 weeks later in Toronto or Hamilton, and to see how many people are still going to Rock games and didn't fly the coop and go over to Oshawa. Because I know Jamie's worried as hell about it, as he should be. Buffalo, not to that much of an extent. I would have thought Buffalo would be a little bit more hot and bothered with Toronto being in Hamilton, as they eat into each other's fan base. Now, Buffalo is a freak of nature and gets 19,000 anyway. It helps when you've won 3 cups. Because if you look in the retro games in YouTube for us at all Lacrosse all the time, you will see some old Buffalo games in which the KeyBank Center, or back then, one of the other names it was called, Marine Midland or whatever, would have about 5,000 people there. If that. So it was, you'd like to think that since the beginning of time it was like that. It was like that in Mill, that everything was sold out. But there was a number of years there where they were lean. And they were lean on the floor and they were lean in the stands. And then they made the big turnaround a number of years ago and have never looked back. And really brought in a whole culture of it. It's kind of like Bills Mafia for a Bills game, for a Bandit game, that the fanatics are so extreme that it's, that brings a whole new culture and environment. And that's something that's missing in a lot of the other places. And they use the square out front, so you have a meeting, place with everybody. It doesn't matter if it's winter either; people still do it, as well as their tailgating in the parking lots, right? Nothing like warming up your food and your hands over your hibachi. Remember, it's not San Diego, man. Buffalo gets freaking cold in the winter and unpredictably snowy. Been there. I've been there through that clear drive from Rochester to Buffalo, in which I couldn't see anything except for brown on either side and know that those are the trees and stay in between them. When you're damn near a whiteout for the lake effect snow. Or skipping a game in Rochester because you see that there's going to be a snowstorm. But because of the way the system works, it's just a jet stream over the interstate. So I'll be able to get out there, but it'll take me 4 days to get back home. Not the way I want to spend my week. But that being said, Buffalo gets, now 17 and 19,000 a game. And, I wish that formula would work elsewhere. You've got Colorado, who's still getting about 15,000 a game. You got Calgary, who up until recent were getting 15, 14. They're around 12 right now, 10 to 12. Still acceptable. But I would start putting the worry on me is if you're dropping 3,000, 4,000 fans, what are you not doing right? What is not keeping them coming back? You got Vancouver, which I can't wait to see because they were getting 10,000 at the end of last year. They had gone from a couple of thousand to 10,000 on a steady basis. Now they have a team that, in my eyes, is the best team in the league right now, other than Buffalo. Saskatchewan's close, but just with all the star power in there, if they find a way under Miloski to work together, and I don't see why they wouldn't, since half of that team worked together in Calgary already and won a cup.
Under Miloski.
Under Miloski,
yeah.
And Bob McMahon. And really, if you really think about it, under Rob Williams too, because he was under Miloski too over there. So really, you have the Calgary Roughnecks. So basically, we have the Vancouver Roughnecks. Yeah. Everything old is new again. It is 2019 because they have Del Bianco, and that was his rookie year. Great way to jump on the scene, right?
Yeah.
Beat Buffalo. Beat Mad Mints. For a championship in your rookie year. Pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other things now because we're not really going to hear about cuts, but I still think that we're going to see some signings. Like there's still a number of names out there.
Yeah.
That again, the ones that we've talked about there, I still scratch my head. I don't understand how either Catoni brother is without work. I'm just, it doesn't jive, especially when there's teams that need left hand support. And they're opposite players. You could get both of them and fill two needs. One likes to go inside. One has a booming shot from outside. And accurate. So we'll see. We'll see. We also have Kufla this next weekend is the Begataway Cup out in Brampton. So if you're anywhere near the area, there's a whole weekend of festivities over there. Stay tuned with our pages because we will have anything and all things to do with it prior to it, so you'll know where and when to go and what to see. But championship is next Sunday afternoon. I am hoping to be there for that because A, it's not too far away, and B, it should be a fantastic final. So we'll see after that weekend pulls around so we know who's in the final. But each year that league just gets better and better. And under Tom Blesky, deputy commissioner, and Scott Fox, commissioner, it's made all kinds of strides. I believe next year they start incorporating some of the new changes that they're looking to make. So it's going to get even more interesting. And all geared up to keep players in Canada and not lose everybody at NCAA.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think it's going to be terrific. And there's already a lot more marketing, already a lot more sponsorship. So there's already a lot of things in the works there. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great weekend next weekend. And they had, remember last year they introduced the rookie game and a few other things, including into the semifinals day on Saturday, and then the finals day on Sunday. So it should be quite the event, men and women's. So lots of lacrosse, field lacrosse for y'all. And if you really want to parlay it, you can catch a Rock preseason game. It is Saskatchewan next Saturday in Toronto, in Oakville. And the following week, it will be Colorado, and the last week, Philadelphia. And then it's season time, guys. It's not that far away.
Yep.
We've gone from looking like maybe we're not going to have one to it only being 3 weeks away.
I was going to say, I love the fact, too, that it sounds like they're going to have some of those preseason games on NLL Plus, too, which I know the preseason games are not going to be the best lacrosse, but hey, as a fan, I want to see kind of some of the guys coming into camp, see what they can do. I mean, especially not being able to be out in Toronto, to be able to watch it is great. I think that's a great move in the right direction.
Yeah, well, there's absolutely no reason why all the track games shouldn't be televised because they have all the equipment in there, in their built-in facility. I know Philadelphia's in there also, and a few other they play on rink too and get their training in there, and then go to the main rink for games. So you've seen Buffalo play at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning before. So keep an eye on the teams on Instagram because that's usually where you can find it, all the information. So keep a close eye. Just a reminder, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram, Thread, YouTube, as well as www.streampunkentertainment.com. Please come back 3, 4, 5 times a day. As you've witnessed in the last couple of weeks, the news is always changing, and we are on top of it. We have our fingers on the pulse of the situation at all times. We are your Costco of lacrosse, your one-stop shop with everything up to date and accurate for you. That'll bring us to final words. Shawn, let's start with you this weekend.
Yeah, just looking forward to what's coming up here, especially training camp underway. Interesting to see what kind of moves are made. And as kind of mentioned, still quite a few big names that haven't been signed yet. I'm just kind of interested to see how everything kind of plays out.
Here's a question for you. Does anybody know what happened to Dan Lintner? He just disappeared.
Yeah, after he went to Toronto
now he's not playing anywhere. I haven't seen him in summer ball either. Nothing.
Didn't Rochester sign him?
No, that was an old thing. Nope. Yeah, he just up and gone. Onward with life, I guess. Which is strange since he was a first-round pick and has had a very storied career and was healthy when he got out. And can really help a few teams.
Oh, definitely.
Still.
Put him on Philly.
Or
Calgary.
Yep, great idea.
Yeah.
Both would be exceptional ideas. Alrighty. We're going to leave it there for this week. Mike, last words to you.
Yeah, just caption says it all. Still plenty of free agents available, and I don't know.
Come get 'em.
Philly, Calgary, do something.
Do something like the meme
Yeah.
with the stick, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do something.
Georgia too.
Absolutely. Well, Georgia's in that position where they have so much talent in there still. They weren't using it all before, and now they maybe a guy like Hale Benedict is going to be able to get a chance to actually show what he can do now that he's healthy. But we'll see. We'll see. I look at. I'm looking forward to again Piscataway next weekend, and they finally get back and start seeing teams like Toronto under the facelift that has happened, where they've gone to more youth, and Sam English is going to be a real interesting addition. Throw him and CJ Kurse together, that's going to be pretty interesting. Throw a Dan Craig in there for some size. Chris Bushi. Let's not forget about Josh Dalwick as well. Be some really interesting scenarios going on. And is Nick Rose the answer? But looking at what's out there, wasn't that the best of all the choices that were out there for now? So just food for thought. Anyways, that'll do us for this week. Next week again, we'll be here. We're hoping to introduce our newest member, which is you've heard him on Lax Classified, Lucas Argier, and he should be with us to discuss some of the training camps and some of the other things that are going on and pre-season stuff. And hopefully we can get him on with us and introduce him to all of you. And we shall take care of all of that in the next couple of weeks. Anyways, for Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks. Remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher, and until we meet again next week, have a great week.